Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Buddy Ghost GG. We're continuing on with Avowed. It has been a minute for me, but yeah, I decided to go play some. What did I decide to go play? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and then I also checked out um, Game of Thrones King's Road. So it's been a few days, and let me just go check my settings real quick. This game like updated, and also did something else. What else did it do? The shaders took a long time to install today, so I just want to see if all my settings are correct. Looks like it. Alright. Let's talk to Yatzli. Oh. Wrong buttons. I can't remember how to play this game.
It's rather rude of you to keep a lady waiting.
Apologies.
I'll forgive you, though. It gave me a chance to dip into my notes about the Circle of Archmagi. One does not simply waltz into an Archmage's domain unprepared. Tell me, dearie, how much do you know about Ringrim?
She's the best known for preventing spells that prey on the victim's greatest fears.
Oh, lovely. Then you know what we're up against. Oh, her spells are legendary. The Circle of Archmagi are the most powerful magical beings in Aora. Whatever the reason, the fact that she's here at all is significant. Oh, Aldra's titties. The Circle sent the Archmage of Terror. Oh, she's just brilliant. Well, Nakukubel is the largest of the godless ruins. It's still got its share of secrets. There must be something in there of interest to Ringrim. Probably something powerful. I knew I liked you, darling. I'll be with you every step of the way. Those Steel Garrote bastards stole all my research about the godless. They'll get to the garden first over their dead bodies. I can show you the way to Ringrim's domain, but we should travel lean. The less of us there are, the less likely she'll take notice. You'll need me to get you in the door, so who's staying behind?
So, party of two. Yeah, we're taking Giata and Yatzli.
Trouble.
Perfect. Oh, this is going to be fun.
All right, the foremost godless expert. Yatzli packs a lot of magical skills in her small frame. A self-taught wizard, she honed her craft while dungeon diving in the ruins all across the living lands. With a grimoire in hand, she manipulates the very essence of the world around her. She can not only conjure terrifying spells of power against her enemies, but also dispel any arcane illusions that deceive the senses. Yatzli invokes a strange arcane power that explodes upon hitting an enemy, releasing a burst of essence and explosive damage. Order Yatzli to dispel magical illusions and surrender its secrets. Oh wait, isn't that symbol? Right? That's that symbol, right? Oh, sorry, trying to check something. All right. Okay, that's that symbol where things would show up over like items, and I couldn't interact with them. Well, maybe those were illusions, and I need to get rid of them.
Don't tell me you're out of linen. We need to make bandages.
I don't know what you expect me to do. I can't just make more linen out of
Hey, Envoy?
What's up?
Got a second? I could really use a favor. I've got to take a piss. Real bad. Do you think you could stand at my post while I go? Oh, I've got my whole shift ahead of me. I don't know if I can. Oh, God's bless you, Envoy. I'll be quick. I promise.
Do I actually have to wait here? Yeah, let's actually wait. abilities. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have her now. Boom, achievement. Unlock all of Yatzli's abilities. I'm gonna get the passive one. Blast deals explosive damage, breaking enemy, destroying walls, shattering frozen enemies on bonus damage. Increases stun dealt to enemies hit by the blast. Blast has a 5% chance of inflicting frozen, ignited, or shocked. Gotta travel around. Started over here. We're down here at third floor. Abandoned mine over here. So we gotta do the side missions as we go. So I think since the main mission is taking me over here, right? Yeah, we'll go out. We'll go straight to here. Then we'll go around this way. And then before we head into here, we'll do this first. I think that's the plan. Right? I think that's the plan. Oh, we can also go back to the abandoned mine, right? That's where one of the things is. That's where for sure I know. Where is the abandoned mine? Is it this one? Sulfur mine? Sulfur mines for sure. I know have it. Yeah. Okay, so the sulfur mines for sure I know have the illusion thing on it. So we might head over there as well. We'll see.
This is taking forever. Not that anyone asked, but we're setting a poor example. We should learn to hold it in.
Well, that was unsatisfying, but thank you, Envoy, for watching my post.
Oh, 300 bucks. I'll take it. 300 bucks is always nice.
How do you feel about poetry?
Poetry? Why the hell are you asking me about poetry?
Do you like it? Come on, you can tell me. Say a few lines of poetry.
Alright, we're heading up to the abandoned mine. We don't have to fast travel. We can...
Do you think I have the dream script?
No.
maybe we should fast travel, actually. I mean, set up a camp. Because we have a lot of conversations to go through here, apparently.
For the camp of an official Adiran envoy, I was expecting a little more. A proper bed, at least. But I suppose this will do for now. As long as you have a bath, of course.
I don't know what you were expecting. This was bad.
I always ask nicely. But as riveting as it is to complain about our accommodations, I imagine you have another topic in mind? I'm the only buyer you'll find here, and I already have the jar. A lesson for next time, darling. It's always worth some haggling.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's been quite some time since I've met another who focused on the godless as I do. And I imagine I'd be more knowledgeable on the subject than anyone else you could find. I've yet to be burned in a single flame trap, and I don't intend to start anytime soon. Fair guess, though. When I got my first grimoire as a child, I was trying out some of the fancy new spells I'd been given. I was attempting a simple illusion spell, but I must have slurred my words. The next thing I know, everything was on fire.
Ooh, that is unfortunate.
That was my assumption as well. Barrett's balls. It's nice to know I won't have to dumb things down with you. What is childhood but for silly things? When else can you get away with arson? My father was able to pull me from the flames as my mother doused them. I burned myself badly enough to give myself some vivid dreams, but the house still stood at the end. Of course. Now I only burn those that deserve it, like mosquitoes and university administrators. The only lasting damage was my burn mark and the dreams. Nightmares are still dreams, envoy. Just not ones you'd recommend to others. They're not nearly as enjoyable as my more, provocative dreams. Oh. Well, just be sure to have a quick release knot if you ever make that fantasy reality. Someone should learn from my mistakes. I certainly have no intention to.
That's one use for rigging.
As delightful as you are, we've much to do and less time to do it in. Shall we go? Oh, envoy, might I steal a moment of your time? Well, it's the waiting that makes the payoff so delicious, don't you agree? Look, I lost more research than I'd like to count. But Fiora and its people are safe. That's what matters. Thank you, envoy. I don't know how you managed it, but whatever you did, you averted disaster. That being said, your ambassador is going to get an earful, and possibly a fistful, next time we're in Paradise. That's what happens when you're the breadbasket of the living lands. Sometimes things get stale. At least we were able to get everyone to safety. Though with everything happening in Thirdborn, safe might be relative. At least I know Temerity will keep an eye on them. I think she knows what'll happen if she doesn't. Oh, I didn't move to Fiora until I was 20. Or somewhere around there, give or take a few years. You see, Emerald Stair has Naku Tedek. For a young and aspiring godless scholar, it was a godsend, if you'll forgive the pun. And, as a young at heart godless scholar, I've traveled outside the stair to other ruins. That's how I met Temerity. Thirdborn's close to Naku Kubel, and a girl's gotta eat sometime. Who says I did? I still go out often. I've catalogued many ruins, but there are always more. And coming home to a warm welcome is lovely. You should try it sometime, darling. Oh, part of it is my sparkling personality, of course, but a larger part of it is time. It's hard to hate someone when they drop by your lab with lunch after you've forgotten to eat again. It's so much easier to do when you're younger. Now I enjoy eating and watching Quilici cook far too much. My mother always said that the way to a man's heart was through his stomach. Quilici and I got together the old-fashioned way, though. I saw a beautiful man across a smoky tavern.
It's nice.
Then I dazzled him with my delightful personality. Then he showed me an abandoned ruin outside of town, and I was hooked. Oh, it's not a fairy tale, darling. We've been happy for the most part. Any rough patches got smoothed over well enough. I only thought about killing him once or twice. He's probably thought the same a bit more. It's hard to believe that things have changed so much recently. Any sense of safety just went poof. It makes you wonder how everything will turn out. Right. The city can be replaced, but not its residents. Thank you, Envoy. I feel a little less frazzled. I've got a lot to think on. Talk to you soon?
Probably right
Try
away.
not to have too much fun without me. How can I help, darling? We've been traveling together for a little while. I just have to know. Did you purposefully choose such colorful company, or is that just what you attract naturally? I mean, I'm very clearly a delight, so it's obvious why you let me stick around. But Kai's hiding a lot behind that humor of his, isn't he? Thinking that that could be Quilici and me is not something I want to think about. And Marius, I don't know what's lurking in him, but I do think he should speak to someone on it. If he reaches out, do try, will you? As for Giada, well, clearly Giada is a gem. As for me, well, I'm just as riveting as you, but the boys are giving me a run for my money. It is a lovely little perk, isn't it? But so is the ability to actually talk to any you meet. Don't discount it. You do strike me as a people person. Tell me, do you get along with all you meet? So, you'll be swarmed by well-wishers then, upon arriving home? And here I thought I had a wild youth exploring ruins. You might be putting me to shame, dearie. Quilici is quite good at knowing when to be sweet and when to be sour.
Yatzli, that's my surrogate father you're talking about? Spare my imagination, if you please.
Oh, you knew the risks when you came over uninvited, darling. It's on your head. Well, you've satisfied my curiosity. You know, Envoy, we've traveled enough that I think I've gotten a handle on your style. Style of fighting, I mean. Your fashion sense is more opaque.
How dare you?
But listening to your incantations, they could use some tightening up.
Oh, you're gonna teach
I
me?
could probably teach you a thing or two, if you're up for it. What do you say? If such a thing is even possible. For me, at least.
Yes.
What? Out of breath already? Talk to one of the boys. See if they can help with your stamina, dear. Well, I've taught you all I can. Let's hope you put it to good use.
+2 intellect.
I wish we could have done more for them. Capo and Chico, I mean. But if I were in his shoes, I hope I'd make the same choice. Though I'd like to pick a more fun way to die. Of course. Even when it's expected, or even preferable, it's always a tragedy. I can only hope that at the end I have some control over things. That I can go out as Yatzli. And don't you forget it. But it gives you something to think about. I mean, not everyone gets to come back like you did, Envoy. Well, that's all I had to say. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Unless there's something else you want to chat about? How can I help, darling? These sudden changes in climate always mess with my coiffure. Does Adir have good fur maintenance products? Do you have a contact for that? Now, imagine that every inch of you is frizzing up. Truly, just a good long brushing through all my fur alone would do wonders. I've got some time before we see Quilici again, at least. It'll give me time to find something to remind him of what he's missing. In life, you make your own entertainment. I enjoy scandalizing the small-minded when I can. Quilici and I got used to the stairs early on. Thankfully, at least in Fjord, those stopped eventually. After 30 years, it's hard to still be surprised by us just drinking at the Magpie. Oh, very true. But sometimes you just want a nice mug of tea. Also, when Giada was young, her parents preferred us taking her to the Magpie for dinner. All things considered, it's hard to complain about my life in Fjord. You're too sweet. As much as I enjoy our little chats, dearie, we should really get going. Oh, but if you do end up finding any liniments, be sure to help a girl out. Well, I suppose you've earned that much. And I do enjoy rewarding tenacity.
Okay.
Though between your dreams and mine, it's a wonder anyone gets any sleep around here. You remember that I nearly burned my family home down when I was young? It was an accident, and I paid for it. My parents refused to buy me more spell books for years. Well, shortly after all that fuss, the dream began. It started at first with a fire, just flames crackling, and a feeling of safety. I thought it was a little weird, but nice. But then the dream kept coming back, night after night. I learned more every time. I saw that it was a fire in a hearth, and that hearth was in an old library. I assumed it was a library, at least, to explain why there were so many tablets lining the walls. A man after my own heart. In the library, there's just one person, but they're wearing a hood, so I never see their face. They do the same thing every night. They curl up in a chair by the fire, hold a tablet to their chest, and then the fear comes. The paralyzing, all-encompassing fear of something. Oh, yes. Nothing strikes fear in the heart of Kith like principles and procedures of animal husbandry. A low, deep banging starts, and it rattles through your bones and shakes you to your core. And it replaces the beat of your heart with this droning on and on and on until you forget every other sound you've ever heard.
A beat. Steel feet on the shore. They come by night.
And then, as it just gets louder and louder, and right before it gets there, I wake up.
You've been listening to too many of Giada's ghost stories.
And let me tell you, waking up in a cold sweat does nothing for my fur. Oh, darling, don't fret. No one's getting any sleep around here anyway.
We thought we came to you in dreams. Have we disturbed their rest?
It's strange. I've not told many of the details of my dream. I suppose I must like you quite a bit, Envoy. Don't let it inflate your ego too much. I suppose we should try and get some rest now. I'll have some tea ready for when we awaken later.
Got a lot of conversations to get through.
Do you think those Adirans were onto something? Do you think they can really cure the Dream Scourge? You may be right. I just hope we made the right decision. You took the words right out of my mouth, Envoy. Now that the researchers can research, think of what we'll learn. A cure might sound far-fetched, but what if they find treatments for the Dream Scourge? And even other ailments? Oh, I can't wait to see how far they've come when we see them again. Well, that's all I had to say. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Unless there's something... Careful what you wish for, darling. So, the Godless, or the Akida, as they called themselves, were the original folks who lived in the Living Lands.
Okay.
They arrived on the shores of a new land and settled there, living with the land instead of trying to tame it.
Okay.
You sound certain. Well, that would align with my own findings. But how could you know that? Does that happen a lot? Well, sounds like fun. But dubious metaphysics notwithstanding, you corroborate my theory. The Godless are so singular. Their art and architecture, you never see it in Rawatai or Ishamatal or, well, Adir. But in their artwork, they reference escaping, fleeing, seeking refuge. So they must have come from somewhere. My guess, they originally came from Yesua. Yesua, a continent, cut off from the rest of the world, hidden by eternal storms, one of the 3 hubs of the Angwithan Empire.
Oh.
10 years ago, you could say it wasn't real, that it was a dream, but they said the same of Ukaiso. Suddenly, the appearance of a mythical land doesn't seem so implausible. Ah, well, that one might stay in your dreams, darling. There was some kind of schism, an ideological one. From what I can glean, the Godless were staunchly against the gods, hence their name. There are even some not-so-kind murals of the gods.
No.
It seems like the Godless really took their anti-theism seriously. Almost like I've dreamt about the Akida my entire life. Well, I think we've covered everything, don't you? Rather, as much as I think you'll withstand. Hope you enjoyed talking about this as much as I did, dearie. How can I help? Careful what you wish. So, the Godless, or they are...
Oh. Okay, so it's just the...
Oh, but do the part, but...
Yeah, let's get back to this.
Don't let the bedbugs bite, dearie.
Alright, we actually got to do her conversations. I don't think I can do any upgrades. Oh, now I can. I don't have this one on, do I? I don't think so. I have Scald's Brigade. I have this one on. So I need corrupted Adra to make Adra Bond. Get it to legendary status. And also one thing I know about this, if you have normal gear, non-unique gear, you can only get it to superb. But if you have a unique gear, you can get it to legendary. So that's another benefit of having unique. Outside of the extra bonuses, you can also get it to the unique or legendary status.
Thank you for...
Power attack store 15%. Have your maximum essence. A successful parry deals high fire accumulations. I don't really do parries, so let's do this.
Telling us about Tama. For what it's worth, I don't think less of you. Dealing with grief, it's never easy.
I've lost people before. You're right. The grief is never easy.
Can make some stuff. Probably better to have foods then. Make sure we make the ones that do actual like health and shit first. Health and essence. How many items have I picked up?
What I didn't know how to deal with was...
What does this do? Perception, dexterity? I don't really use these kind of things, but I may as well make them. There we go.
Shame, knowing I'd failed him.
Let's talk to Marius first.
Listening to Yatzli's thoughts about godless ruins is one thing. Bringing her along for the rest of the trip is something else.
Oh, you don't like her?
I don't know. She's all right, okay? But how would she know how to get to the garden? If she's read anything about the garden, it was written centuries ago. Obviously, things have changed since then. Bothered? Pedraku. It's my job to guide you as safely as possible. What you're doing isn't safe. I'll go along with whatever you decide. Just don't be disappointed when she doesn't show you what you wanted to see. Anyway. Ask away. What else is there? What do you need? Right. Let's... The only one we haven't talked about? I don't trust her any further than I could throw her. Which honestly isn't that far. She actually goes down into these ruins on purpose, just to see what's down there, I guess? And now she's trying to lead us to the garden. Might as well be searching for WoW's wacky wagon of mysteries. I'm sure she knows what she's doing, but what if she doesn't? You too.
Okay.
I suppose if you're on a wild goose chase, there are worse places to do it. I thought I'd give it a try. See how it feels? Yatzli's got you going in all sorts of abandoned ruins.
So I
Who
go in those
knows what's
abandoned
down
ruins
there?
regardless.
More questions, most likely. And spiders.
I have a problem with spiders.
Nothing, I'm fine. Forget I said anything. I just want to make sure we've covered all the options before we dive headfirst into another deadly ruin. Right. Just keep it in mind, I guess. Anyway. Until next time.
The dream scourge is getting worse. First our land, then our animals. Now our people. If we don't put a stop to it, we're looking at the end of the living lands. How can anyone expect us to do both? As if the dream scourge wasn't enough of a problem, the Adirans are profiting off our misfortune. They haven't come to help us. They're here to exploit our weakness. Let's hope it never comes to that. But when it does, I'll be at your side. It's too bad. We're fighting for our lives, our souls, and our freedom. I don't know if we can win all three. I've been better, if you hadn't noticed. It will pass, I'm sure. My apologies for acting cynical, but it feels as if nature, politics, and even the very gods are working against us. I don't appreciate being backed into a corner, but here I am. Despite everything that's happened, I'm so grateful to be working with Yatzli. In many ways, Quilichi has been like a second father to me. But Yatzli, she's like my dirty aunt who's up to no good. Oh, she's an expert in that field. While I have your attention, I've been thinking. Why is Inquisitor Ludwig suddenly interested in godless ruins? She's a smart one. I'll give her that. We should be ready for anything. Something tells me Ludwig isn't finished with us yet. Go on then. Anyone in particular? Of course. She's brilliant. Open to anything. And sees the world as she wants it to be. Yatzli gave me my first glass of wine. And the courage to approach a special someone. We have a lot of catching up to do. No one to get jealous over. To call it a relationship would be an insult to the word. But it was fun while it lasted. Animancy is the study of life. Unfortunately, we get so busy that we forget to live. So a little roll in the hay is good for the soul. Yatzli taught me that. Well, not the part about rolling in the hay. That was my idea, and I don't recommend it. Indeed, old friends. When they died, Yatzli protected me. Made sure I had one consistent person in my life. I think that's why she gave me that glass of wine. Why she encouraged me to live my life to the fullest. She was making sure I hit all the milestones I could have missed. Now that she's traveling with us, maybe she can teach you a thing or two.
He already
I
has.
think that
Gave me
covers
+2
everyone.
intellect.
And if my good opinion changes, you'll be the first to hear about it. I'll tell... What? Thanks for talking.
Listen, thank you for visiting Tama's memorial with me. I didn't think I'd ever
No
trust
problemo.
someone the way I trusted him. But both of you have a clarity of purpose I've never seen in anyone else. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I know. I'd forgotten what that feels like. Like I just woke up with a hangover. Every feeling, every memory I tried to keep a lid on is sloshing around, and I'm struggling to keep my balance. But I'm also remembering moments I hadn't let myself think on in a long time. Feeling a warmth I couldn't get close to. Yeah, after I ride out the worst of it.
We think of grief as a burden, as something to be conquered. After a while, it gets to be so familiar, it's almost a source of comfort.
I wish this were another burden to conquer. That would feel easier. It's hard to imagine grief ever being a comfort, but I'll have to take your word for it.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Thanks. I'll get there. And thank you for seeing this through with me. Was there something else? Tama's memory. Never knew how to separate it from this place. And the longer I stayed away, the harder it felt to come back. Until you came along, I thought I'd be able to avoid it forever. Thirdborn's missing a lot of familiar faces. And the youngsters who've grown up and the new arrivals, they seem green. Like they're cut from a different cloth, a more delicate one. I really do sound like my grandfather.
You smell like him, too.
How about you borrow Yatzli's ladder so you can say that to my face? Thirdborn's only survived because the people were tougher than the wilds. I just hope the people living behind those walls know how to keep them standing. Yeah, it was tough to see him like this. He'd just given up, and we let him do it. He still had time, and he should have held on to every minute of it. For Chico's sake, if nothing else. You helped me come to terms with losing Tama. I just worry we've robbed Chico of that chance. Maybe so. And about Capo's secret. Thirdborn. If it weren't for the Leviathan skeleton in the middle of town, I'd hardly recognize the place. "6 years ago. Feels longer now. You ever come back to a place and feel like the buildings are smaller and the colors are duller? And home just wasn't the same. Thirdborn was always this rugged oasis. Dangerous and out of the way, but bursting with vitality. It was a harbor for larger-than-life types. People like Capo, the Leviathan Slayer, and Tama. Glory seekers, trophy hunters, warriors trying to leave their battles behind. People who built around their stories and their scars. I guess it felt like one, too. Hardtack and Merc brew after a long day's patrol tasted better than any feast. Being back, it felt like we were watching Thirdborn die a slow death. Yeah, but I thought age was supposed to bring wisdom. Something to balance out the back pains and creaky knees. I think what's eating at me is that Thirdborn seems rudderless. The Dream Scourge is one threat. Conflict with Adir is another. The Living Lands is changing, and Thirdborn feels like a barnacle on a moving ship. Temerity's leading them as best she can, but towards what? What are we doing out here besides surviving? Instead of drifting. Yeah. For the longest time, I was just running from Tama's death. Thanks to you, I'm starting to think about what I might head towards. What about you? You were sent by your Emperor to investigate the Dream Scourge. Since then, you've died, met a secret god, and gotten swept up in tensions between your empire and our scattered settlements. Between releasing Egwolf and thwarting the Steel Garrote and Emerald Stair, you've opposed your empire's interests. Do you know what you're sailing towards, or are you drifting with the tides?
Aedir's interests are unjust, and our alliance with the Steel Garrote leads us down a dark path. Elgard and Ludwin aren't the final word. I'm loyal to Aedir's interests in my own way.
That kind of clarity is rare. Thanks for talking. I hope Thirdborn is able to
follow my
find its way
principles, right?
somehow. Yeah, it happens. Sharing the road and sharing each other's battles. But out of all the people I've fought alongside, I haven't gotten to know many of them as well as you. You always know what to do. It's like you've got an internal compass guiding you. Not many people have such a clear sense of direction, especially in situations as complicated as these. I never thought I'd feel this at ease again with anyone else, much less myself. But you helped me face loss, regret. After drifting for a long time, I finally feel like I belong again. So are you. I don't say that lightly. So whatever you need, whatever it takes to finish this journey, I'm with you. To the end. You're asking me? Okay. You know, just when I was thinking our little group was getting too solemn and serious, we met her. Sometimes I think she lives in her ruins and grimoires rather than in the real world with the rest of us. But she keeps things interesting and keeps us on our toes. What's more, she's a good friend to Giada, and Giada's a good influence on her. Couldn't have said it better myself. I just hope she keeps some part of herself grounded with the rest of us. She's brilliant, but I worry that the real-world consequences of the forces she plays with are academic to her. Maybe I shouldn't. Sure. Check your bedroll for fangworms.
That's everything. All right. Yada and Yatzli. Oh.
Seeds of change. Their petals sprout across the barren land. They sing to the unwanted ones, and the unwanted ones sprout in turn. The soil remembers what it once was. It will soon be whole, safe. The soil does not want these cities. It yearns for silence, for the kestrel song. But first, the sprouted ones will grow. They will bring the stillness and the bird song. The dam falls. The river returns to its source. It is how the land was and should always be. We want all of them gone. We wish for life to flourish again. Efforts paid in blood, they lie to the earth, to themselves. Death nourishes the soil. All things come from the rot. The dead bear nourishes the pack. We ponder. dream of shifting sands now. We will speak again.
Okay.